Hello and good afternoon, folks. Welcome to another Flycast Partners webinar. My name is Rich Longo and I'll be your host. Today's webinar presentation is on why your organization needs IT operations management, presented by none other than Flycast Partners' own Bobby McCullough. Bobby has been in the IT industry for well over 20 years and started with Flycast Partners to help us expand our reach into digital transformation. He's been involved in the implementation of multiple tools for multiple multinational financial organizations, software engineer for the United States Postal Service. He's ITIL V3 and Scrum certified with experience in IT service management, IT financial management, and IT asset management, along with digital transformation. Before we get started, Bobby, let me introduce Flycast Partners. Flycast Partners is here to deliver a seriously amazing IT experience. We were founded and staffed by personnel that have many years of experience in the IT space and took the best ideas from these collective experiences and added the best components necessary to grow and become a leading value-added reseller in the North American IT market. We offer best-in-class implementation services and training in IT service management, IT asset management, IT operations management, enterprise service management, and workload automation spaces using nothing but ITIL best practices. Our professional services team can easily scale up or down to meet the IT needs of any customer, regardless of your size, complexity, or budgetary restrictions. We offer implementation services both on-site and remote, as well as training to reinforce your company's long-term IT success. Ongoing remote administration service offerings will enable your organization to focus on those normal day-to-day operations, saving you both precious time and money. Feel free to call us at 844-FLYCAST or please visit our website at www.flycastpartners.com. We have IT experts to answer your questions live Monday through Friday during normal business hours down in our chat section of our website. I encourage you to go visit and check out our upcoming webinars, to check out any live events that you may be interested in for the future. Download a white paper or two, or possibly a data sheet that you might have interest in. We would love to have you join us at any one of our upcoming events. We have a variety of events coming up for our roadshow. Join us in a city near you. We're doing it at Dave & Buster's this year. Go to one of our Dave & Buster's roadshows in a city near you and get an opportunity to play video games. So I encourage you to come out and eat with us, get a chance to network a little bit, and play some games with us at Dave & Buster's. We'd also like to invite you to our ITIL training that is coming up next month on October 7th. We're doing that 5 days, for 5 days, Monday through Friday, from 1 p.m. to 5 p.m. Eastern Daylight Savings Time, or Standard Time if we're in there by that time. For a small fee, please go ahead and register on site. You'll actually be taking that class live with our very own Chuck Spencer as an instructor. You'll be able to interact with him. So we encourage you to do that and have an opportunity to interact with some of the Flycast Partners employees as well that will also be in this virtual class live. During today's presentation, I am sure a question or two will come up. By all means, type that question in the Q&A section that is provided in this WebEx, and I'll be more than happy to read that off to Bobby during today's presentation and get you an answer live while we're all on this WebEx presentation. I want to thank each of you for attending, and I'm going to turn this over to none other than Bobby. Bobby, it's all yours, sir.
Great. Thank you very much, Rich. Welcome, everybody. This is Bobby McCullough. If I disappear for a second or two, I'm trying to respect your ears. My allergies are acting up a little bit today, and I don't want to cough or sneeze on you. So if I pause and disappear for a second or two, don't be concerned. So today we're going to talk about.
We definitely appreciate that. We appreciate that warning. Thank you.
No problem. No problem. So why your organization needs IT operations management. So let's start with what is it? And Gartner really, it's not so much a definition as it is really a description. So in the past, Gartner has said IT operations management, or ITOM, software is intended to represent all the tools and I've kind of emphasized that here. All the tools needed to manage the provisioning, capacity, performance, and availability of computing, networking, and application resources, as well as the overall quality, efficiency, and experience of their delivery. The key here is all the tools. Even in Gartner's description here of operations management, they recognize that it's multiple tools that are tackling this problem, and that may be actually part of the problem, the volume of tools. But we'll talk more about that in a bit. So modern times have modern demands. There was a time when IT was a cost center and working on a capital budget. You know, you buy more than you need just to make sure that you have enough. I'm sure everybody can agree that those days are gone. Today, IT must be nimble and business aware. IT must understand the cost drivers of the business and how IT itself can provide value. But downtime is costly, from lost revenue, productivity, to reputation. It costs and it hurts. Years ago, when I worked at a grocery store, it was a critical emergency if the cash register system went down. Now, the stock boys and the stockers and the sackers, we would all stress if someone spilled a carton of milk, because we were going to have to go clean that up. But the managers would stress if the registers went down. You could see their blood pressure rising, their tone would change. Registers had to be bulletproof, because the purpose of a grocery store is to sell groceries, and it can't happen without registers. You guys can have likely suffered a major IT outage. If you have, you understand how it impacts your business. If you haven't suffered an outage, you can just pick up a paper. The news on that is really everywhere. CIOs need and want to provide business value to their organizations. IT really has to be a value center, not just a cost center. But CIOs feel hamstrung and really unable to deliver in a timely fashion. It's sort of like the business is moving in the fast lane, and IT is maybe over in the breakdown lane, just can't keep up. IT spend is increasing for lots of things, but it's not increasing for tools and personnel. It's going to applications and infrastructure. So where does that leave you, besides looking for a raise? Let's take a minute to look at these issues in depth. So downtime is costly. According to industry studies, it takes 5 hours to recover from an outage, and the average cost of an outage is almost $1 million. Now that's a big range of organizations to arrive at that number. So what does this mean to you, to your organization? What does it mean? Well, if you're a customer, like I was recently, it may mean that you don't get your tickets to the concert. You're not able to go because the system went down. If you're a company, it's going to likely mean lost revenue, lost productivity, and reputation. If you're in charge when the outage occurs, it's likely to be discussed at your next review. If you're Amazon and it was Prime Day, and maybe it wasn't a 5-hour outage like that average, maybe it was an hour. That could mean up to $100 million in lost sales. That's a lot of money. But on sort of the other end of that scale, a small county with a 911 system, if that goes down, that really isn't something that's measured in dollars, because that's something that could mean lives. So downtime really is costly. It's costly in both terms of money and of lives. So why downtime? Why do outages average 5 hours? Maybe it's got something to do with the volume of alerts and the siloed systems that they come from. According to some industry studies from IBM and others, there's a 110-to-1 ratio of total events to actual threats. Now, that's the proverbial needle in a haystack, you know. Now, what does your staff do with all these alerts? They pour through them. They communicate with each other to assess, evaluate, categorize, and prioritize all that information coming in. It's no wonder that takes 5 hours, right? So who has a war room for outages? You know, you bring everyone together for what's either a finger pointing session or maybe a game of hot potato to try to find out what the root cause of an outage is. No wonder an outage can cost close to $1 million on average, right? So these same studies say that if you're able to shift just 10% of this mundane work away, you're able to increase value-added work, the kind that the CIO needs and wants, by 33 to 50%. And that is the way to move your IT organization from a cost center to a value center. Excuse me. So where are those siloed tools and systems coming from? Well, it's coming from the modern hybrid environment. You know, it's no longer just on-prem, and a lot of organizations that have gone completely to the cloud have pulled back some from the cloud. So now, you know, you've got public-private clouds, on-premise. Everything has its own tool. Every group or business unit that manages some element of your environment has their own tool, has their own environment that they're managing. So you've got all these tools. Many of them may be out of date. And what does that get? That's, you know, no visibility, no control for those hybrid environments, for cloud versus on-premise. And that really means that you can't effectively prevent downtime. Downtime's going to happen. It's a nature of the business because of how the business is organized. Now those hybrid environments, that's part and parcel of digital transformation. Moving to the cloud is really the biggest transformation that's going on currently. With respect to digital transformation, there really are two types of organizations, those that are undergoing transformation and those that will. Even if you have no digital transformation initiatives currently, just the natural progression of change in technology is going to require you and your organization to change. And it's going to happen on some level. Maybe you have to rewrite your batches so that you're able to handle a new security method. Maybe your vendors, excuse me, are changing and requiring you to come along for the ride. It will happen if it hasn't happened already. And digital transformation is pressure-filled. You've got customer expectations that absolutely have to be met, serious consequences for not meeting customer expectations, not to mention executive expectations. You know, what does it mean, at your annual review when there's a problem with meeting executive expectations? That's not a good conversation. And then finally, expectations of your team. You know, having the ability and the tools to do their job is key. So there's a lot of pressure. Never mind the fact that 84% of CEOs expect whatever change you're undergoing is going to increase profit margins. How then 70% of large and complex change programs fail to reach their goals? How does that happen? Well, the reason is, or the start of the reason is siloed, interdependent teams. You've got units that are separate. You come together in a war room when there's a big enough issue, but really they're separate, siloed tools that rarely communicate with each other, and problem management really is manual, and you having all these separate tools really just doesn't help much. That leads to a lack of visibility. If you don't have visibility, then how do you define, meet, or improve your SLAs? You're not able to see and understand your availability and performance data. So there's really no way to improve that without understanding that. And finally, the perception of your customers, perception of your executives, and of your organization. IT service management is often considered slow and cumbersome, as opposed to DevOps. So what does that mean? What does that what does that cause within IT operations? It can get trapped. It's difficult to please both the service management, the DevOps teams. The tools just don't allow it. The tools are meant for different purposes, and it's just difficult to find that middle ground between those two units. Lacking visibility then can cause your costs to spiral, easily spiral. We've all heard the stories about maybe a company's DevOps team that decided they could provision quicker from maybe AWS than their internal team because they had some work they needed to get done over the weekend. So by Monday, they did it. They got their infrastructure provisioned and they got their work done. They also incurred about $40,000 in fees, not realizing the costs associated with what they were doing. Or the company that doesn't understand their license position, and Microsoft comes in and hits them hard. Visibility directly impacts those operational costs and what happens with them. So as environments get more and more complex, we talked about the hybrid environment now and moving back and forth between on-prem and out in the cloud. As these environments get more and more complex, our ability to be proactive is either reduced or eliminated. Getting quickly to the root cause can be nearly impossible. That's that war room. Trying to find out where do we get to, what issue do we need to solve that's going to take care of this group of issues, and who's responsible for it. So I just want to stop for a second and have a little math quiz. So what is the state of your IT operations management? Likely you're siloed, separate business tools, separate business units, limited communication integration between them. Add to that the pressure cooker of today's modern hybrid environments with transformation, and the expectations that go along with those transformations is truly a pressure cooker. So what do you get when you add those two together? You get a dumpster fire. No one's happy. You're not able to move the perception of your business unit, and if that goes on long enough and appears in enough annual reviews, someone very well could be looking for a job because of that. So how do you solve that? How do we take care of that problem? So Gartner says the solution is a comprehensive approach to IT operations management with something they call AI ops. And it really begins with monitoring and observing your environment, feeding that information into a big data platform, because we're going to be bringing in lots of information. All those alerts we talked about, that 110-to-1 ratio, all those alerts that are going to come in, we're going to bring those in and bring that into a big data platform. And then we can apply machine learning to it. So once we've got that data from all those sources, that disparate data sets, got those together and unified, we're able to apply machine learning to us that can give us continuous insights to what's happening and to what's going to happen. Integrate that in with our service desk so that we're able to engage our staff and end user customers when needed, and help with supplying a true customer delivery experience that organizations expect to be provided by their IT departments. And then finally, moving on around the wheel here, automation and act. So, if we monitor and observe what's happening, and engage our staff and our customers through the service desk, applying AI ops and machine learning to the data that's coming in, those large disparate data sets. We're able to apply automation to that then, so that we make better sense of that. We get better results, better information out of the system. We're able to perform autonomous discovery and instrumentation, so we know, again, what you've got out in your environment, and contextual auto remediation. So we're able to understand, what's the root cause, what needs to be solved, what needs to be fixed, and sometimes that can be an auto remediation that just happens automatically, and the system resolves it for you. So that's really the key. That's how we reduce those mundane tasks by 10%. To drive that additional value that your staff's going to be able to provide. So how does this happen? How can Flycast help you with this comprehensive approach with AI ops? Well, it starts with a service-centric approach. We start with discovery of visibility into your environment. We don't care where that environment is or the hybridity of that environment, whether it's on-prem or out in the cloud, public or private. We really don't care. We can get to it, discover it, and understand what's in your environment because that's key. That's the visibility that must be available in order to truly provide operations management for your organization. And then later on top of that discovery, we're able to provide tools for intelligence. So you'll get business context. You'll understand the service and topology of your environment through dashboards and reports and other methods that allow you to understand what your environment looks like and the impact, so that if Bobby's desktop goes out, unless it's at this time on a Thursday, it may not be such a big deal. But this time on Thursday, it's a big problem because Bobby has a webinar that he's doing for the whole country. So you're able to understand that business context and understand the business impact when there's an outage. Policy-based monitoring. So policy-based monitoring is sort of the first step, sort of the old way of monitoring. So you say, okay, when I get alert X, and it hasn't healed in 30 minutes, then actually raise that to an issue and allow me to remediate that. So that's static, sort of old way of handling it, and it's still a viable way in some instances of handling your IT operations management and monitoring. But there's also the new way, the OpsQ way, where we're able to apply an inference engine so that we're able to understand the relationships between alerts that are coming into your system using that business context of your service and topology mapping to understand those relationships and making inferences when there's an alert for X over here and an alert for Y over there. Those two are actually related, and Y is the cause of it. We're able to actually understand that through our inference engine and smart correlation so that we reduce the noise, so that things that need your attention can get your attention, and you're not looking at that 110-to-1 ratio for alerts versus actual issues that might need to be resolved. And then finally, on top of that, optimization. This is where we can provide intelligent notifications. So using our intelligence, the inference engine, and the smart correlation, we're able to reduce those false positives and actually notify you when you need to be notified, notify you however you need to be notified, including integrations with other third-party tools to actually handle the service management side of operations. But if you don't have that, our tool actually has that built in as well, so that you can handle that within the solution itself. And finally, remediation. So we're able to see what's going on in the environment. We understand its context within our business. We understand when there might actually be an issue, and we can notify so that we can work toward remediation. But we can also help perform some auto remediation. So the system is smart enough so that things like the outage on that disk on one of your servers, it comes back up and then runs fine for a period of time. So you know that maybe there's no need to immediately respond to that, because you know that it always comes back up. The system can actually learn that. The system can learn that that you are rebooting a particular server when a service goes out, and that rebooting that server is the solution to that particular error, and it can handle some of that for you. Smart routing, so that again, who needs it is notified of it. Remote access, so that maybe remediation requires some hands-on work, and you can do that right from the tool, where not only are you notified and can understand the impact and the context of what's going on, but you can actually connect out to the system and perform the remediation remotely right there from within the tool. And then finally, patching. So, patching, that's really how to be proactive. So understanding what patches are missing in your environment, within your operating systems, and then loading those patches, remediating that so that your systems stay up to date, and you're able to be proactive against those types of issues. So that was sort of a theory way of describing how all this comes together. I want to talk about it now from a sort of a real life perspective. So how does this work within your organization? So this is really unifying IT operations and service management. You've got all these sources of data, monitoring tools that let you know when there's an issue with maybe a particular application, maybe within your network infrastructure, maybe your databases, whatever. Any of those monitoring tools, you've got those sources of data. Those actually can bring in and bring those into a single system to let you know when your service is actually up or down. And that's where we get into both operations management and service management. So we bring those sources together, all those disparate siloed systems in together, and we use that data to let us know if a service is up or down, and correlate that information. Using that inference engine, we're able to correlate all those events and understand which ones need our attention and which ones are related, so that we can manage the one and use that to raise an alert. That alert we're going to feed over to our service management system, and we really don't care where that service management system is. We've got lots of standard integrations already available, but there's an open API that we can create additional integrations if they're needed. So we feed that information into our system to understand the service is up and down. It's correlating those events to understand what actually is an issue that needs attention, and pushes that over to the appropriate party. We're also able to understand that business impact and get to the root cause quicker, because we understand when we've identified that issue, we understand its context within the business. Because of that business topology and mapping of our environment, we're able to understand what that impact is and what that root cause might be. That allows us to then manage our alerts either through scripts, where maybe there's a particular script that solves an issue. We can handle that right from the interface. Remote connection to the system, we're able to go out and remediate that way, or apply our AI ops, where the system automatically handles that for us. And again, move us to a service up. move all that information through, sifting through the noise to get into what actually needs your attention, and then applying your processes to that to remediate that, and in a timely fashion to eliminate that 5 hour downtime, that nearly $1 million cost for those outages. So without AI ops today, with the ever-changing environment that we're in, the regulatory environment, the constraints put on us that way, the technology, the rapid change that's happening with technology, without AI ops, we're going to continue to have hardware failure, human error, software failure, and natural disaster. We're going to have all four of those, whether we have AI ops or not. Without AI ops, though, those are going to continue to be a large piece of the pie with what's slowing down and inhibiting IT from moving from that cost center to a value center. So how does success happen? So we're going to help you with finding the data that you don't have. We can help with asset discovery. We don't care if it's on-prem, out in the cloud, or SaaS. We're able to get to it, and we can do discovery for you so that you understand what you've got. And then we're going to help you bring in your existing monitoring solutions, data from your other web services and other sources within your business, so that all that spread out data now has a single source of truth. So you've got one place to go to actually provide those answers that you might need to actually use within your other tools. We're going to help you automate your processes. So once we've brought that data together, we're actually able to use our AI to help you make better decisions about what's going on. That AI can initially start out with alerting you, and then maybe transform it over to actual remediation for you, so that it helps you get that value, allow your staff to provide those value-added activities instead of this mundane type work. Finally, the last level here, giving you a holistic view of all your IT services. So it's sort of a Rubik's Cube view of your environment, understanding the business drivers and how particular elements of your environment impact your business, and all of that's going to go a long way to helping you understand what needs your attention and can get your attention. So this is really meant to be just a sort of a taste of what we're going to cover next week. We'll have one of my counterparts from OpsRamp come in to actually show us the OpsRamp product and some of what it can do. At this point, though, I'd stop and see if we have any questions. Anybody, if there's anything I can help explain.
You know, there's no questions entered in. Folks, this is the opportunity to take advantage of the fact that we have Bobby live today. He'll be happy to answer any questions that you have. Go ahead and enter them in the Q&A section of this WebEx. Folks, it's going to be a great presentation next week put on by our friends at OpsRamp, so we're really looking forward to it, and I hope you are too. By all means, definitely join us. Bobby, it looks like we don't have any questions. Did you have anything else that you wanted to go over?
Nothing today. But be sure to tune in next week for another great webinar, and a lot of good information and detailed information about the OpsRamp product itself.
Excellent. Very good. Well, Bobby, I want to thank you for your time today. I know you're a busy man, and audience, I want to thank you for taking time out of your busy day to participate in one of Flycast Partners' presentations. Remember, you can always reach out to us directly at 844-359-2278. That's 844-FLYCAST, or email us at info@flycastpartners.com. And we do have IT experts standing by on our website in chat, awaiting your questions or responses to anything that we've done. So by all means, visit our website and chat with our guys Monday through Friday during normal business hours. Enjoy the rest of your week, folks.